Hello, and welcome to the Movie Universe. I'm your host, Movie Fan. Today, I will be talking about To Hell and Back. It's a World War II movie that talks about America's most decorated soldier of all time, Audie Murphy. It talks a little bit about when he was a kid back in Texas, and it tells why he decided to join the Army back in World War II. There's no part about him going through boot camp. He's just right in the war, starting off in Africa and fighting in Italy. This movie tells about every one of the major conflicts that he was in and the great acts of heroism he had done, including his greatest act of heroism that happened in France when he jumps on a tank and starts shooting the machine gun, knowing that it was about ready to explode. He held off an entire regiment of German soldiers. Unfortunately for him, it was the end of his career because part of the tank blew up and hit him in the hip. Because of that, his hip literally had to be wired together, and obviously a soldier cannot function like that. So it put him out of the army. And it pretty much ends with him getting 21 medals and awards, including the Congressional Medal of Honor. Now, obviously, I just gave you the overview for a reason, because to tell a story like this, you really have to watch it in order to appreciate what the man went through and what he did for us during the war. And I will tell you this, everything that happens in this film is 100% true because the story was written by Audie Murphy himself. And what's even more amazing about this film is that Audie Murphy was there playing himself. And as far as I know, this is the only movie to actually do this. There has never been a movie to have the real hero portray himself. So this is a real treasure in so many ways because there's never been a film that's ever done anything like this before or since. Now granted, it was made in 1955, shortly after the war, but still, to actually have the real man play himself, that's unheard of. And I'm sure many of you will know that Audie Murphy was a very famous actor. Mostly he did westerns, up until his death back in 1971, which makes it even more amazing because, again, such a thing has never happened before, and I highly doubt it'll ever happen again. Next to the movie Midway, this was always one of my favorites. The acts of heroism that Audie went through, what he did for his men as a sergeant in the Army, it's absolutely incredible. And in a way, it does kind of talk a little bit about post-traumatic stress syndrome, because there's quite a few times where a friend of his gets killed, and he just completely loses it and takes out the German forces in front of him. There weren't too many war films that ever brought up issues like this, especially with the hard fact of losing a friend during the battle. And it has been said that in real life, Audie Murphy really was scarred by all that, having horrible nightmares, all kinds of things. That's the price of heroism, I suppose. He was, and always will be, America's greatest war hero. As I've said before, I've only given you the overview because you really have to watch this movie in order to appreciate what happened. So if you ever get the time, look this movie up. Believe me, you're going to love it. And I'm sure you will be in serious shock and awe knowing that this really happened. This is Movie Fan, signing off.